go.
Hey guys, so I'm here with Kevin Friesen, James Erskine here for Frontline Alliance Manitoba. We're just about to join up with the big convoy that's heading across Canada, and Kevin here is the interim leader of the Keystone Party of Manitoba. So he and I ran into one another just through the course of different groups of people, and so he invited me up here to take a ride with him, and I'm happy to do that, and I'm proud to be a part of this. And just wanted to say hi and just send out a word of encouragement to everybody who's joined up in this whole business. Really proud of a lot of the people who are taking it upon themselves to actually show what Canada means to them and what our freedom means to us. And so I just really appreciate it, Kev. Thanks for inviting me, and I don't know if you had a couple of things to say.
Yeah, well, it's totally our pleasure. I told James that we had room for 1 star, and so we see people and what you guys are doing and what James is doing. He's a star, and so he's allowed to come with us today. We have a seatbelt for you. So that's good.
Awesome.
No, the only thing I'd add is this is right up what the Keystone Party believes in. I mean, we think that the charter is being trampled on. There's no real good reason for what's going on, and hey, if this makes a difference, we'll do everything we can.
Awesome. Well, we got some good support. So we're going to probably talk to you a couple more times as we go. And I've just got a couple questions that maybe I'll ask you, and so we can look forward to that. And we're going to put them together as a video, and maybe some people can just be encouraged by some of the things we talk about. So thanks, Kev.
Yeah.
Thanks. So we're just starting out in Austin, Manitoba, passing a whole ton of different people. We've got Kevin Friesen here. Kevin, why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself and what brings you here?
My name's Kevin Friesen. I'm the interim leader at the Keystone Party in Manitoba, but the reason I'm here today is not for political reasons. I'm a farmer by trade, and so we have been noticing that freedoms have definitely been slipping away throughout the last, for sure, year and a half, even before that. And this is to stand up for Canada. I mean, we need shelves filled with food. We need chemicals brought to our dealerships. We need equipment brought in, and this is about us losing it all. And basically, the people who are going to pay for what the government is doing right now are you and me, but more likely your kids. And so that's why we're here today. We have to do this for our kids and our grandkids.
Absolutely. So what kind of principles are you, as somebody who's decided to get into politics, somewhat reluctantly, the way that I've understood it, the way that you and I have had a couple conversations. What kind of principles are you looking at for Canada? I mean, I look at this kind of stuff. I look at these folks here who are coming up on the side of the road, who are just so excited that people are standing up. People are excited to see some life brought back to their country, and some passion for what our country is all about. What are some of those principles that you're thinking that our country should be focused on?
Well, I mean, so I think we need to. We're just a new party. We have a set of 10 principles that are very laid out well on the website. But I mean, for me, it's really simple. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms has been here since before I was born. So why are we all of a sudden saying that this is something serious enough that we give everything away?
Yeah.
That we have fought for hundreds of years for?
Yeah.
It's just so I would just keep that answer really simple, and that's our number one principle, is that we promise to keep the Charter and to go back to the Constitution and keep those things really simple.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll come back and get a couple more questions and answers with you as we go here, but I won't berate you with a whole bunch right away. Okay, so Kev, where are we here? Are we
right around Eli?
Eli, okay.
Yeah.
So I think my next question for you is maybe going to be sort of broad in a sense. Do you think that what we're doing here, do you think this is all entirely about mandates, or do you think there's maybe a little something more to it than just, you know, the idea of to vaccinate or not vaccinate?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me personally, this isn't about vaccination and not vaccination. I think 90% of these people out here, maybe just past the Hutterite colony, they're not here. They realize that our freedoms are at stake, and I think everybody has a line on where the government is overreaching, and I think they've passed so many lines that there are so many Manitobans out here right now that realize that the government has gone too far.
Yeah.
Not just our federal government, but our provincial government as well. And so, to me, this is about. It started with the federal government giving us the carbon tax. That was the line crossed, and so I mean, they've just added so many things that you don't have a long enough memory card to add all the things that they've overstepped.
Yes.
I like to compare it to Go-Go Gadget. If you ever watched the old cartoon.
Yeah.
And he had those arms that were about 80 feet long. Well,
yes.
I think our government they're pretty much at the end of the Go-Go Gadget arms already. And it's the government overreach that these people are upset about.
Reaching those hands into all of our pockets, into all of our lives.
That's right.
How do you think that, what do you think are some practical ways that needs to be curtailed? I mean, the obvious one here, that the reason that we're in this convoy is the idea of healthcare, is the idea of personal choice about your own body and what you put into it. What are some other ways that you think need to be addressed in that?
Yeah, I guess for me, I think the plain and simple answer is we need to stop coddling Canadians, Manitobans. I think what we need to there is a genius in every single person out there. And I mean, we need government to keep people in line. We need government to provide justice, to build roads for us. But there's so many areas where they have coddled us into areas that they have no right being in. And the hugest thing today, and what this is all about, is our rights and freedoms. They have basically taken them all away, and they're telling us that it's for our own good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not seeing that. Let's use the vaccine for an example, even though I don't think that's what this is about. The vaccine has not been proven to protect us from the Omicron virus right now, and yet they're handing more things over that we need to get vaccinated, to go into a restaurant, to go across the line for a trucker who is bringing us groceries right now. Yeah. You gotta be kidding me. It's just gone too far.
Well, there's an idea there of resiliency of individuals, right? We need to come a little bit out of the nanny state and into a sense of, these folks here. I would say that most of them aren't people who just buck and rebel against authority. I don't think that that's the case here. I think that a lot of these people are just simple business owners and people who want to somewhat just be left alone. They're content to be, for example, taxed, to a certain extent. We all have to pay for the roads. We all have to pay for, like you say, the people that keep the lights on and the people that keep sort of the criminals from taking over, and whether that's police or firefighters to prevent houses from being burned down. But the idea that a lot of these rules are starting to really stick into very personal and intimate parts of people's lives, I think. And what is your gut instinct about what is going to turn things around for this country?
Well, I think we talked about this earlier before we shot this, but I see this convoy as a bunch of tanks going to war, and I've said it in previous videos that I've done that every generation has to fight for their freedom.
Yeah.
This is the generation right here. These are the tanks going to war. I think I don't think there's another way. We've tried it with social media. We've tried it with the media, and it's impossible.
Yeah.
This is the only way to get the job done. I mean, the old saying that the truckers use is "get her done," and I think this is what's happening. And I really want to praise the truckers for what they're doing. I think they're the only ones that would get in their tanks and get things done. And that's why you're seeing people along the side of the road here all over the place that are supporting them for doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we'll come back to another question or two shortly. Okay, so we just got through Headingley. I think we're in the number 2 spot here in this convoy. It's hard to tell if there's anyone else ahead of us. So how many people were you figuring we passed there? That was awesome.
Headingley, you came out to see this, man. There was thousands there. That was good.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, what do you think this is saying to the average person who might not be invested in this whole into this whole narrative the way that you and I might be, that maybe just aren't necessarily actively thinking about the things that are going on here and how they're affecting their lives? What do you think? What do you think this might say to them? Do you think they're going to notice?
Well, unfortunately, there's people going from downtown Winnipeg right now to their house in Tuxedo, and they think there's nothing happening. They're going to turn on the news tonight, and it's going to say there was a couple trucks went through.
Sure.
But the reality is, those who experienced what we experienced in Headingley today, you got to share that with lots of people. I mean, there was literally thousands of people lining the streets.
No kidding, right?
Handing out sandwiches, giving coffee.
Yeah.
I really hope that everybody tells the story about what happened.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that stood out to me was just the joy in people's faces and the hope that they seem to have. I think that there's a huge portion of the population that has just been looking for somebody to take up a fight for them, and it really seems to me like, for whatever reason, this is the
wake up call.
The point that it's happened. We've got these folks who drive trucks for a living who are just fed up with it, and we pass these folks on the side of the road that are just doing anything that they can. They've got tears in their eyes. They're handing out food. They're wanting to feel like they're a part of working to fight for the country that they know and love.
Yeah, and don't forget, it was 30 below outside, and these people are freezing their nards off out there. I mean,
no kidding. These
aren't exactly conditions where they set up lawn chairs and were enjoying themselves. They were enjoying themselves because of what's happening, not because of the weather.
Exactly. I thought that was an amazing thing to just be a part of there. What do you think? What do you think tangibly can be done here, Kev? Let's say tomorrow morning you're in charge of Manitoba. What are the first couple things that you think need to happen here?
Yeah, first of all, it's a good thing that we're going to choose a way better leader than me to lead us into this, because this is a real mess we have ourselves in. But I like to believe that a Keystone Party government wouldn't have got us to this point to begin with, first of all. But we have to get the economy clicking again. We need to open the small businesses up. We need to get Manitobans thinking for themselves again, rather than coddling them, as I said earlier. And I think the number one thing is we have to get unity back into Manitoba. And if there's only one, right now there's two sides. You're for this issue or you're against that issue. And if we can eliminate some of those issues, I think we start uniting Manitoba and we can become the friendly Manitoba that we were meant to be.
What do you think is driving that for or against, and sort of the division between the two? Because in my mind, you can disagree with somebody. It seems to me that there's something more to it than just a simple disagreement. What seems to me is that it's an interference. It's one is trying to interfere in the other. Would you kind of agree with that idea?
I guess there's a couple of things driving it. First of all, our mainstream media is totally blinding half the people out there, or maybe 70% or 80%. I don't know what the percentage is, but some people actually believe that what the media is producing is true right now.
Yeah.
So you get somebody that tries to talk against that narrative, and right away everybody's on edge. The mental health is at an all-time low. I'll be honest with you, James, I've drank more in the last year than I've ever drank in my life.
I believe it. I would probably agree with that, and say the same for me.
Yeah.
It really seems to me that what people are desperate for is a hope, And I think that's really what we saw at the side of the road here while we were just passing through Headingley, is just that that visual sign of trucks coming through, and the all the signage on them, and all of the drivers that were waving, and all of the passengers, and all of the all of the participation. It was giving people that hope, it seemed to me. And
yeah, I agree.
I think that personally, I think one of the big things that we really need to do here is just stop treating one group of people differently from another. I think we've heard that rhetoric, all growing up. I was born in the 80s, and that's what I've heard all the way throughout school and throughout my career, and yet it seems to me that a lot of the people who are blowing that horn the loudest are the ones who are not listening to their own advice, and seem to be turning folks against one another for their own gain.
And what I really like about what's happening is we see things building. I mean, seeing those thousands of people on both sides of the road lining the streets.
Yeah.
In the 30 below, that's giving some of these truckers who are going to go on to Ottawa, that's going to give them fuel.
Yeah.
That they're going to need to stay there. If they have to stay a while, I think they're going to have the fuel to stay there a while.
Well, and
in their hearts, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, we've got food here that people were handing out. We've got well wishes and people wanting us to stay safe. The one thing I didn't see at all any of was any sort of violence. We had or even sort of unruliness. In comparison with a lot of protests I've seen as a cop. Some of these can get quite unruly. Some of them can get violent. Some of them can get into a place where things are being thrown, and the police are being disrespected, and law and order is essentially thrown by the wayside. And one thing that stood out to me was a lot of people had signs that were supportive of our I guess our some of our staples, like law enforcement and healthcare workers. And I think people aren't really, they're not concerned with trying to upend everything and turn everything on its head. They're trying to bring reason back into some situations that are totally unreasonable.
There was also a couple of signs that weren't so supportive of our Prime Minister.
Well,
a couple thousand.
But strangely, none of them advocating terrorism or anything like he might suggest, or he might like to think. But I mean, that almost flows part and parcel with the kind of nonsense that I think that he's been spewing. He's the kind of person who thinks that speech is dangerous, and when you're acting wrongly and immorally and unethically, speech can be dangerous to you, because saying the truth erodes all of those lies. And so I personally believe that that's one of the reasons that our free speech has been under attack in this country. But
what we're seeing coming up here is really cool. I think some of these guys are just joining us now, and so we know that there's trucks that are joining us for a couple of 100 miles, or maybe even 100 miles, and there's others that are coming to join.
Yep.
Yeah, this is giving them the fuel they need. I think this is going to be something that will show that we're uniting. This isn't about separating Manitoba. This is about joining us together. This is awesome.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll come back shortly with maybe one or two more questions. Thanks, Kev. Okay, so Kev, you managed to get out of the driver's seat for a little bit. So we're just coming up to where we're going to leave off on this convoy here. We're coming up to Deacon's Corner in the center of Canada. Couple of things before I ask for maybe some of your final thoughts. But one thing I'm wondering, the average person, these folks who are lining the streets here to wave the truckers on, what do you think it's important for them to do in their lives? Going home tonight, going home for the rest of the week. Like, how do you affect change in your own personal life, do you think, for these folks? What can they do? What can they say to family members or friends that they're maybe at odds with, or that don't quite understand where they're coming from?
I guess what I can tell them is you're not alone. I mean, you might as well pan the camera and show how many people are at Deacon's Corner here. I mean, there are thousands of Manitobans that are with you.
Yeah.
We all walk into
thousands, guys.
We all walk into a mall and we think that we're all just masked and we're all obeying and but it's time that we make a change here in Manitoba. Hey, to me it seems obvious that you just joined the Keystone Party, but no, seriously, there's a lot of people who are on your side. You're not alone. There's a lot of thousands of people are with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll do a little plug here for the Keystone Party. I mean, to me the thing that is appealing to me about it is really the idea that I don't perceive it as a political party in the traditional sense. I perceive it as your goal is to in fact reduce the idea of politicians having their fingers in every little bit of people's private lives and people's private decisions and that kind of thing. Would I be accurate?
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, one of our principles is we think we need a smaller government that solves so many issues. A smaller government. We need to remove the idea that a politician has to be a lifelong politician, because I think maybe some of them are spending too long in politics.
Yep.
And
we're gonna just pan over to these guys here. Look at all that, eh?
I mean, once we educate these people that you're looking at right now, I think they're going to be all on our side. I think that a grassroots movement like we're trying to produce here is the exact answer.
I think you're 100% right. Man, what a turnout. That's awesome. And we were saying earlier as we were driving, you know, this is great for a number of different reasons. First of all, it's encouraging for the people that are lined up here to see these trucks coming through. It's a tangible way that people who believe in freedom are showing one another that we're working on this together. But I think it's an encouragement to these truckers, like these guys and gals, like they're putting their livelihoods on hold, and I personally know a little bit about that, and I know that that's not an easy decision. It's something that's serious. It's something that's not easily undertaken. You really have to think about your family, and you think about the people that you care for and the people that you provide for, right? And in turn, we're showing these truckers that we don't take that decision lightly, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, I guess for a closing remark here, we're going to peel off probably and let these truckers continue to Ottawa, and our thoughts and prayers are with them.
Absolutely.
I ask everybody watching these videos who are running into people that are against these truckers. These truckers are doing this for your kids.
Yep.
And so support the truckers and what they're doing. They are not a bunch of crazy guys just heading east.
Amen.
They're our tank drivers. Let's support them.
Totally. I'm gonna get another shot here of all this. This has been a heck of a day. I really appreciate you guys bringing me out here. And on to Ottawa they go.
broadside.
This is unreal. It's amazing.
Wow.
Look at this.
Big flag.
Longhorn blow, eh?